भाई रे अवर नहीं मैं था, मैं धन नाम निधान है, गुर दिया बल जा। भाई रे अवर नहीं मैं था। सुन मन भूले बाबरे, गुर के चरनी लाग। हर जब नाम त्याए तू, जम डर पे दुख भाग। दुख घनो दोहागनी, क्यों थिर रहे सोहाग। भाई रे अवर नहीं मैं था। तिस बिन खड़ी ना जीवऊ, बिन नावे मर जाओ। मैं अंधले नाम ना बेसर, टेक टिके घर जाओ। अवर नहीं मैं था। गुरु जिना दा अंधला, चेले नाई ठाओ। बिन सतगुर नाउ ना पाइए, बिन नावे क्या सुआओ। आए गया पछतावना, क्यों सुंजे घर का। बिन नावे दुख दे होरी, ज्यों कलर की भीत। तब लग महल न पाइए, जब लग साच न चीत। शब्द रपे घर पाइए, निर्वाणी पद नीत। हाँ गुर पूछो अपने, गुर पुछ कार कमाओ। शब्द सलाही मन वसै, हाँ में दुख जल जाओ। सहजे होए मिलावड़ा, साचे साच मिला। शब्द रते से निर्मले, तज काम क्रोध अहंकार। नाम सलाहन सद सदा, हर रखे उर्धार। सो क्यों मनो विसारिए, सब जिया का आधार। शब्द मरे सो मर रहे, फिर मरे न दूजी बार। शब्द ही ते पाइए, हर नाम लगे प्यार। बिन शब्दे जग भूला फिरे, मर जन में मारो वार। सब सलाहे आपको, ਵੱਡੋ ਵਡੇਰੇ ਹੋਏ। ਗੁਰ ਬਿਨ ਆਪ ਨਾ ਚੀਨੀਏ, ਕਹੇ ਸੁਣੇ ਕਿਆ ਬੋਏ। ਸ਼ਬਦ ਨਾਨਕ ਸ਼ਬਦ ਪਛਾਣੀਏ, ਹਾਉ ਮੈਂ ਕਰੇ ਨ ਕੋਏ। ਭਾਈ ਰੇ ਅਵਰ ਨਹੀਂ ਮੈਂ ਥਾ, ਮੈਂ ਧਨ ਨਾਮ ਨਿਧਾਨ ਹੈ, ਗੁਰ ਦਿਆ ਬਲ ਜਾਓ। ਭਾਈ ਰੇ ਅਵਰ ਨਹੀਂ ਮੈਂ ਥਾ। In our last sitting, we were getting the message, खोजत पाया, डर कर मिले मिलाए, आप पछाणे घर वसे हमें तृष्णा जाए। The emphasis was that this is something that has to be conscientiously decided by the individuals. It is not forced upon anybody. It's not a requirement of anyone. And most of the people don't even feel the need for it. There are quite a few on this earth who don't believe any such thing. But if you are one of them who do seek for something higher or maybe something different, then you have to conscientiously seek. And almost every mystic has said that. Jesus said, seek and ye shall find. Gurbani here is saying, khojat paya. Khojana literally means to seek out. Conscientiously go look for it. What is it? And once you make up that mind, it is going to require a fundamental shift in consciousness. One of the reasons, somebody asked me this question as to that this scripture contains the purest form of the message, yet it's not very popular. Not even those who claim to be its followers, they do nothing that is documented in here. Why is that? Why doesn't it take the deep roots that it should have taken? Foreigners have come from Europe and dedicated their life to understanding this message. People like MacLeod and they have written theses on it. That means it has been written in English, it has been written in various languages, and the people have read it. People know about it. How is it that it is not going deep? Why? Is this something wrong with the message? Is this something wrong with the messenger? Is something wrong with the listener? And after pondering upon it, the things that jumped at me was that this scripture talks about the internal changes only. It does not care what the external changes you make. It's asking for you change internally, which is far more difficult. It is a shift in paradigm completely. Other religions are asking, do something outwardly. Follow this teacher and do this ritual. Be a good person to the outside world, whatever you inside are, it doesn't matter. So long as the law and the society is not calling you bad, you are okay. Whereas this message is saying, as a matter of fact, if the law and the society is not calling you bad, you need to look inside more. Are you that? What you are projecting outside, is that really what you are? And because that requires self-examination, that requires the consciousness shift, it becomes a message for the rarest of the mind people. And this was the message last time. Khojat khojat paya. You have to look for it. And looking for would demand that the way you see it today, you will have to start changing, seeing it differently. So, for example, we all have our built-in grown-up biases. Now, this will suggest to you that you need to drop the biases. Why? Well, you say, you write, even Constitution of America says all are created equal, but is that what they practice? Even for 1 minute? So, if all are created equal by one creative energy, then your biases are going to have to shift. Your outlook is going to have to shift. And it doesn't shift because the change is painful. Change does not come. It is always after the change has taken roots, you enjoy the fruit of that change. But while you are going through the transformation, it's a painful process. So we take the easy way out. We make the outer changes. Some shave the heads off, others grow the hair long. But I'm looking different now. Well, those who like the long hair, they are starting to compliment you. Those who like the short hair, they are trying to. So, and then you cut it, and now the people shift. Then now you are popular with the other type of group. But the point is, nothing has happened inside you.
But isn't that what we did too?
Right. That's exactly what I'm saying. That even though we let the world know that we are the followers of this, and we want to give this message to the others, but we are very poor examples of followers because we are not ready to have that revolution inside. And that's why it is not becoming popular. So, good message last time was, you have to seek. And when you seek, sudden miracle happens. The seeker starts dying. And we get very scared. Because there are no answers out there. Your answers are all in you, in here. And you have to seek them out. And you don't. And this reduction in the ego-centric thought process becomes painful. Because where do you draw the line? Am I being humble, or am I being a coward and not confronting the one who is subordinating me, who is forcing me to submit? Where do I draw the line? And the answer is that is completely up to you. Nobody's going to tell you that this is correct and this is not correct. You have to draw the line. But if you are on that path, which is khojit paya, if you find that type of company, what happens? Aap pachane ghar vasai. Slowly, instead of being outward bound, you become inward. And then again the question will pop up. Is that a change? Or is it just changing the game? No, the answer is, again, it is all dependent upon you. You can play the game to please the others, and inner change may not be going on. But if you are sincere on that path, understand that the egocentric thought process is going to come down. Nanak nirmal ujjale jo rate harnaye. So those who get on that path, they succeed in the objective of the life. Those who don't, they continue staying in the cycle of life and death. So, what should be done? How should the seeking start? And that's the next hymn. Sun man bhule bavre guru ki charani lag. Say, understand this. This is not something that ordinarily can be self-driven. You need the guidance of those who have gone ahead of you. Unless you seek that counsel, unless you seek that guidance, which is the purest form guidance, you will be lost. You can't move. So what you should do, sun man bhule bavre. O naive one, listen carefully. Gur ki charani lag. Seek the counsel of the one who has gone ahead of you, so that har jap naam dhyaye tu jam dar pe dukh bhag. Now, how do you know who has gone ahead of you? How would you know? Because only when you are standing on a hill, you can see the people standing below. But if you are standing below, you don't know who's standing on the top. How are you going to ever recognize? It becomes a vicious circle. And Gurbani says, no, wait. I give you the test. How would you know? If this is the right guide for you or not, here is the litmus test. What is the litmus test? Har jap naam dhyaye tu. That individual will give you only one kind of advice, which is har jap. Start the process by chanting, by meditating. If he tells you, come with me to seek such and such guru, and you become his or her followers, and you start paying money to them and you start promoting them, you have become a victim of a game. But the one who simply says, is that what you want to do? Alright, here it is. Without any self-interest or self-propagation or motivation or self-glorification, is the path to the higher consciousness. Here it is. And that would be the test for you. If that is happening, seek that person, listen to that person, and follow that person to jam dar pe dukh bhag, because that is the only process which frees you up from the bondage of time and space. दुख घणो दोहागणी क्यों तिर रहे सोहाग. These are two words in the language, dohagan and sohagan. Dohagan means the one whose lover or husband has left because of the unhappiness with the spouse, and sohagan means whose spouse actually is adoring and appreciating the company, the relationship. So and the model is what? If the mind-body system has changed, suddenly the cause of the conflicts disappears. If it has not changed, then the conflict becomes predominant part of life rather than going away from life. After all, what is at the root of the conflict? One's ego. When you win an argument, what do you gain? Ego satisfaction. At the cost of what? Acceptance and happiness of the other. I mean, it's very natural. Someone who has been forced down is not going to feel very good about him or herself. And someone who has become the aggressor temporarily will feel like a winner. But it's not a victory that lasts long, because the other has suddenly been beaten down. When there are two people sharing the space and one is walking around with a long face, the other cannot stay with a smile on the face for too long either. So the paradigm shifts. Okay, I have understood the mechanics of this. I'm going to start subordinating my ego not to an individual but to the higher forces. I'm surrendering my will. I am not insisting on, because being right all the time is not very right, because you can't be that way. Only creative energy can claim that. The humans cannot claim that, but we tend to claim that. I know everything, I'm always right, the other is always wrong, and they don't know anything. These are such deep-rooted biases in us. And what does it do? Dukh ghano dohagani. The lovers run away. Now, yeah, you have proven yourself to be right, but at what cost? And what will that do? In the long run, it will create misery. Kyun thir rahe sohag? The lover, the husband, cannot stay permanently with that type of a thinking process. So, here's what you need to do. Bhai re, avar nahi main tha. Oh my friend, that's not the way to lead the life. That's not the way to live the life. That's not the purpose of life, to live in conflict and sorrow and misery of the duality of life. You should seek the counsel of those who have attained to the permanent ultimate bliss. How they did that? मैं धन नाम निधान है गुर दिया बल जाओ. That guide, that guru, that counsel basically said, you need to shift away from the outer conversions and start collecting the inner changes of your meditation. Quiet your mind down bring the forces and the energy level, which is always agitated, to the lowest denomination that possibly can happen. And someday you will be able to transcend all of the bondages of the senses. Those are the teachers who are rare to find. And if you find one, surrender your totality. Gur diya, bal jao. Surrender your bal means your own power of whether it's intellect, whether it is wealth, whether it is anything else. Surrender that. Gurmat pat sa baaz hai tis kai sang milao. So what kind of advice you will be getting? Say from that guru. Gur mat. Mat means the advice, the intellect. Gur means the guide who has gone ahead of you. His only objective or her only objective, if he is the true teacher, is what? Tiske sang milao. That the objective is that the entity on this dimension, in this dimension, should eventually merge with the highest entity in that dimension. Now, this becomes a very loaded word, and we hang on to the words. See, normally when we say he, we point toward upward. And it lends the belief system, well, is there somebody higher up over there on some ninth cloud, or what is this? Where is he? No, he's right here, in this dimension, right here, all pervading.
Why is it always he?
Well, call it she. Are you happy with that?
But everybody always calls it he.
Just a convenience.
It. You can call it.
You can call it. Because whatever you will call will be wrong. It matters not what words you use. Referring to that energy, any title would be incomplete and wrong. Okay. Where did that question come from? See that how?
No, it's not that, because
No, but
I'm not he, but
the point is that something got touched.
no. No.
Actually,
If you can't see that subtlety, how it comes from the back door, that you actually mind-body system completely goes to sleep and is not acknowledging its own functioning. Now, more you defend that, what's happening in that when you defend that?
Trying to. Yeah.
Ego gets stronger and further
Win.
stronger, and right?
Win.
Because you want to prove
Prove it right.
that I am right and you are wrong, right?
yeah, which is right.
Your reasoning, that's
But actually, in olden days, only men were able to write and all that, and they were the leaders. And so when they wrote, they naturally said he. And women were not writing
You
and
can
expressing.
explain or justify any which way. The point of is that there is no word that can be properly applied there in any language of the world. It's not possible. The words fall small. That's why Buddha never talked about it. And I have shared with you that he did that out of the awareness, and he got exploited by the outsiders by saying he's a fake, he doesn't know anything. Look, he doesn't talk about it. Had he known it, seen it, he would have talked about it. But he understood very, very clearly. They called him an atheist. I think there has not been a more spiritual person on this planet. It's a history, but he was condemned by the prevalent preachers of that time. And that is the emphasis here, that you need to get to that teacher whose objective is only one. Tis kay sang milao. Usnu, that particular individual will help the other individual to walk on the right path, in the right direction, without anything having to do with the individual. No self-motivation, no gratification, no other than saying, okay, if you are seeking, here is it. तिस बिन घड़ी ना जीवू बिन नामे मर जाओ मैं अंधले नाम न विसरे टेक टिकी घर जाओ. And once you get that message, now it is not going to be left to a morning evening function. It's going to eventually get to a state of mind which is 24 hours merged and immersed into that process, because slowly it will become part of your nature. Just as breathing is your part of nature, so would be this. This been a ghadi na jeev, not even a moment would be wasted without it. It needs to get to that intensity. Where are we? We haven't even started. Much less to talk about the intensity. So it's pushing in that bin naame mar jao means what? Not a physical death, but a spiritual death. If you drop it, it is spiritual death because you have gone away from the source. Akha jiva visray mar jao. That's the state. That if you are in it, you feel alive. Even for a fraction of a moment, you go away from it. Kabir gives a beautiful example. He says, he is a weaver. And if those of you who have seen those hand weaving machines, right, there with the foot they press it and up and then hit it on this side, then press the other foot and hit it that side. That's how they weave the cloth.
Loom, right? Loom.
Yeah.
Khadi.
Yeah.
We were taught in the school.
Yeah. Those looms. Now he did that work all his life. So he says that when I hit that bracket going this way, I have a chance to say the word. And when I do this way, I have a chance to say the word. And I continue all day. But then a moment comes when thread runs out. And he has to thread the needle again. He has to load that. Now those of you who have done any sewing know that when you are threading the needle, you have to hold your breath because otherwise the hand shakes. Right? So, and he says, when I'm doing that, I have to hold the breath, and suddenly I feel the pain that I could not say the word. For that fraction of a moment, when I'm threading the needle, I have to stop from repeating the word. Now, it is that intensity that is required. Tis bin ghadi na jeevu, bin naame mar jao. You feel like a spiritual death. Main andhale naam na visre, take tiki ghar jao. So, andhle means the one who doesn't know. You say, I don't know anything else. What's required is that this should become the part of my life in such a way so that eventually I can get back to my original house where I originally am from. I'm originally from that source. I'm part of that source. I want to get back to that. But in the world, that's not what is happening. Why is that not happening? Guru Jina da Andhala. Okay, that's what is happening. That the guide, the teacher, the preacher, they themselves are completely ignorant of anything. They repeat the things that they have read somewhere or heard somewhere. They have done nothing of their own, and they're just making a living out of it. So, since they are blind, and a blind is leading the blind, Guru Jinada Andhala. When the teacher, Andhala means the one who doesn't have the eyes or doesn't have the real knowledge. Chele nahi thao. The disciples are also destroyed just as the teacher is destroyed. So the seeker needs to be very aware of this, very alert about it. Just because many are following someone does not make it right. No, it's not a numbers game. But that's all we know. That's another bias. Well, how can so many people be wrong? And we have all heard of that quotation, majority consists of fools. Means what? That they have surrendered their original thinking to somebody else. Well, you decide and I'll follow. That's it. Whatever decision you made is okay. It doesn't work in the spiritual world. It works in the socio-political, economic world. It doesn't work in the spiritual world at all. Satguru bin Satguru nao na paye bin name kya suao. It says, without the true master, you will not get the truth, and the true master doesn't have any other obligation, any other thing in his mind other than to also help you to evolve to that stage. If you don't, then I gaya pashatavana. You take birth, gaya, you die, and then what happens? At the end of each cycle, you look back and you say, oh my God, I did waste the life, did I not? I wish I had done something about it. I wish I had known it. Well, you did know about it. That's the tragedy of this. That we all know about it. We all talk about it. We all discuss about it. Somewhere along the line, every one of us have heard these things, but we have ignored these. And then suddenly the time comes to bid goodbye. Nothing has been done, and you just end up repenting. Jyon sunje ghar kaon. Now, in that land, if a crow comes and sits on the top of your house, it is considered a message to the householder that some guests are going to drop in.
Is that right?
Yes, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
That's a belief system.
Mm-hmm.
So Gurbani uses that myth and says, if a crow comes and sits on the top of a house in which nobody's living,
Somebody's going to move it.
how are you going to interpret that message? Jyon sunje ghar. Sunja ghar means a house,
Empty house.
completely empty and nobody's living. And the crow is sitting up there making noise. It's a complete waste. the life cycle would be completely wasted. बिन नामे दुख देहुरी ज्यों कल्लर की भीत. Without that, this body is like, now again, color is a typical word from that land. I don't know if this land has ever seen it. That in the land where nothing grows except the niter.
That white.
Yeah. Huh?
White nitrite.
Yeah. Niter. So the ladies normally go to that and collect the niter from the top and they use it as a clothes washing help.
What?
Yeah.
White as
Yeah. Color ਨੂੰ ਲਿਆ ਕੇ ਤੇ ਕੱਪੜੇ ਵਾਲ ਕੇ ਪਾਣੀ ਚੋਂ ਉਹਨੂੰ ਸੁੱਟ ਦਿੰਦੇ ਸਨ. But that land is completely useless for growing anything else. So it says this body then is like that wall of niter, which is completely useless. Tab lag महल ना पाये जब लग साच ना चीत. He says there is absolutely no way to know the real truth unless you have changed from within. And what is that? The day you are happy with the myths and the lies and the stories. I was reading an article in which, and that was about that, what the belief do we know, in which the scientists are saying that what looks solid from one dimension, from another dimension, is not even a thing. So you see, when you go to the at subatomic level and look at these things through the microscope, you see that there is a void and distances that are so vast that you wonder as to what is touching what, how it's a holding. So they are basically saying the same thing now that mystics of East has been repeating. This is illusionary. This is not real. This is a dream. You just need to wake up so that you can see the real you. What you are seeing is a dream. Because they were taking the example of eyes. Say, eyes don't see it. It is the brain that is interpreting, and it is actually literally constructing everything based on the stored data. And it flashes the information to the frontal lobe at 40 times per second. Now we know that if something flashes at 16 times per second, it gives us a continuous motion, right? That's the principle on which the movies are based on. Human eyes can perceive up to 16 frames per second flashed in front of you. If they are slow, it becomes herky-jerky. If they are fast, it becomes herky-jerky. Whereas this information is being flashed on the frontal lobe, which is telling you that you are seeing this. Eyes are not telling you anything. So how can you depend on the eyes? And we have a paradigm which says seeing is believing. And the scientists are proving today that actually seeing is unbelieving, because all you are doing is confirming your own bias. That's all. It's not real. So when you start accepting these totally way out of the, as you would say, ballpark information, and not fight with it, not resist it. If you resist it, the truth of the nature's working is not going to come. If you allow this information as it's being given to you to sink in and help you change your paradigm, then the potential opens up for you to eventually get rid of this cycle of life and death. Tab lag mahal na paiye. You cannot get to your real home jab lag saach na cheet. Until the truth has not taken roots inside you, there is no way that you're going to succeed anywhere. Saach na cheet. Chit de vich, in your inside. It is not talking about the outside at all. That's the biggest distinction here to be understood. Shabd rape ghar paiye nirbani padanit. Once you have started on the path, the word has become your source, then you would possibly get back to your original place. So, here is the guideline for you. Haan gur pucho apne gur puchkar kamao. Whatever you are doing, howsoever you are doing, make sure that your true guide actually endorses this. If you have found a true guide who's helping you to walk on that path, then make sure how gur pucho apne. Don't use your own information. Use somebody, the one who has gone ahead of you. Gur puchkar kamao, shabd salahi man vase hao mein dukh bal jao, dukh jal jao. Saje hoye milavada, sache sach milao. So what would be the sign that you are actually making progress? It reminds us that you will see that you are developing inner characteristics which are not egocentric, which are making you more and more humble, more and more milder, lesser and lesser possessive and competitive and combative. And slowly, saje hoye milavada. If you stay on that path, then you will eventually meet sache sach milao, because he or she or it is also as much interested in you as you are interested in him. That's what Jesus was saying, that when he was talking of that goat that he lost, right? The lamb that went away, that was his said. He is also interested in the lamb that has actually left the herd and become unique. So he helps. Sache sach milao. He will do his part. Shabdarte se nirmale tajkam krodh ahankar. So here is another test. You can see from within yourself whether you are getting there or not. Means what? Shabdarte se nirmale tajkam krodh ahankar. The desires start going down. The anger starts coming down. The ego starts coming down. And you can see that within yourself. You don't need to ask anybody else. You can see that within yourself. And we all say that the things that used to bother me 10 years ago don't bother me anymore. But the things have not gone. They are still there. So then what happened to you? Well, either it is a conscientious decision, a change in you, or you had developed aversion to this and you just ignore it. Now, aversion is also a form of attachment. Think about it. You can be attached to something because you love something.
Or dislike.
You can be attached to something if you are hating something. But you may not be hating or loving and just develop the aversion, which is what happens to most of the human relationships. Isn't it? Well, I don't care where he comes, where he goes, it's fine. I don't care anymore. You don't love? No. Do you hate? No. I just don't care. That's aversion.
Indifference.
Indifference. That's not transcending. What's required is a transcendence, not aversion, not attachment, not detachment. Because detaching is a form of attachment. So these are the subtleties that we need to understand, and we resist, we fight these things, right? I mean, just as a few minutes ago exchange basically indicates that to all of us. It's a practical demonstration that we will say, no, I'm not like that. I'm not like that. What happens if one day there's more salt in your food? What happens to you? You don't like it, right? What happens if there's less but more, right? The transcendence would be whether it is more or less, it's all fine. It's all fine. Without any judgment, without any...
Or no salt. Everything is okay.
You will have the same smile on your face, you will be enjoying the food just the same way, without worrying that the salt is less or more. Transcendence, go beyond the bondage of the taste. Don't be slave of the taste. Transcendence is... So, same way, as far as the person is concerned, you are the same as if he was good or as if he was bad. You are just as your reaction to the person does not change. His or her reaction is not modifying your behavior. That's transcendence. Say, for example, you win a lottery. What happens? You become happy. You lose some money. What happens? You become sad. So what's happening here? The wealth is controlling your mood and your reaction to life. That's attachment or detachment or aversion. But if it comes is alright, it goes is alright, there or here, spend is okay, burning is okay, losing is okay, everything is okay. That's transcendence. Aversion is negative of detachment. Think about it this way. Your child doesn't listen to you. So first you try to stop because you don't like that behavior. That's a negative attachment. Because you are not accepting, but you are still attached. And you're saying, you are my son, I'm your mother, you better listen to me. Then a time comes, whether he comes, you notice him coming and going, but you say nothing.
Right. But it bothers you.
But it bothers you.
That's an aversion.
That's an aversion.
Okay. When it doesn't bother you, then acceptance.
When your reactions are not controlled by the other, whatever that sense is, seeing, hearing, tasting, touching, it doesn't matter which sense you are looking at. When it does not have any more judgment left about this. If Mahavira stands in the world completely naked, now everybody's behavior is changing around him. And as they are going by, his behavior is not changing. He's not affected. Somebody say good, somebody say bad, somebody says he's gone mad, whatever. His own inner being is not getting affected by what the others are doing. And that is transcendence. So, that's what it basically was saying here, that Naam Shabd Rate Se Nirmale Taj Kaam Krodh Ahankar. You start managing, you start giving up the desires, the anger, the ego. Shabd mare so mar rahe phir mare na do jeevar. And he says, it is like something inside you died. That judgmental you is no more. And that is a far difficult death than when the physical death will take place. That's why Kabir says, Kabira, jis marne te jag dare mere man anand. He's talking about that death. That the people are so scared of this type of death because they identify themselves with respect to the others. Higher, lower, good, bad, right, wrong. When there is no such judgment left, then how do you exist? You're very scared, you're very afraid. It's not an easy thing to do. But if you get to that stage, fir mare na do jeevar, so you won't be born again, you won't have to die again. Shabde hi te paiye har naame lage pyar. And there's only one process for a seeker who wants to continue the social structure life. You don't have to leave or run or go anywhere. You just get connected with that word and start utilizing that word. Bin shabde jag bhoola phire mar janme varo var. So, without that process, what is going on? It says the jag bhoola phire. They are as if they are lost in a whole crowd, in the army of people. Everybody is walking around as if they are lost. They have forgotten their bearing. They have lost their ground because they are not sticking to the right process. And you hear from almost, from everybody, well, we've been doing this, we've been following that for X number of years, but it never occurs to them that maybe what they started wasn't the clear understanding of what is supposed to be. So, unless you understand the purpose, that's why in Sikhism there is no blind faith. It is not at all encouraged. Not even mentioned. Actually, it's very succinctly discouraged. It says, use your intellect. Akli padke bujhiye. Understand first what you are doing, why you are doing, how you are doing. Once you have understood it, then implement it. And then stop all discussions. Now I understand, now I know, and that's enough. Don't keep on going, well, maybe I'll find a better thing. Let me go talk to so-and-so. And then what happens? You go talk to someone, then you start expounding your own theory, your own model to the other. In the interest of impressing the other, well, I already know that. So instead of gaining something, you end up losing. So, bin shabde jag bhoola phir. They have lost their mar janme varo var. They come and go in life cycles and keep on wasting the time. Sab salahe aap ko vaddo vaderi hoye. Sab salahe aap ko. Everybody likes to hear good about the self. Right? These ears are willing to listen to both good and bad. Good about the self, bad about the other. right? I mean, that's our normal chat, normal talk. And we consider it very, very useful time spent. All the game, behind everything. And particularly if you tell me, I feel even more better rather than me having to repeat it.
I should repeat it.
That's right.
Yeah, so I would
You
have
never told me.
You should tell me, so I don't have to.
Right?
Very pretty.
Right.
Thank you.
Isn't it one of the normal complaints of the women? My husband never tells me these things. Right?
You never said it's good.
Every other man says you look pretty today, but मुंह सड़ जाए कभी एकरा में क्या हो गया है?
You just heard that this evening, didn't you?
No, she didn't say that.
What does it mean? Yeah. What does
And every woman says, I am the only one who's putting up with you. Every other one would have left you.
She
That's
asked
another
what you
illusion.
mean, right?
Oh,
Translation.
yeah. It's fine. Tell Alex. Now you can say anything.
As if he said the words, his mouth will burn.
Never says you're beautiful. To his wife that you're
Every
beautiful.
wife complains.
Every wife
She wants
complains
to hear. Every wife complains.
that the other men will compliment her, but her own man would not.
Because he owns her.
Yeah, that's how we would say.
As
it.
if
Yeah. Does it burn your mouth to say it? Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just a way of saying.
That's just a literal way.
You are not going to lose anything by saying it's equivalent to that. Right?
But they won't.
But you not just husband, friends can say
Generally.
too. See,
No, but
It doesn't
it's more
matter.
From us, but
When it comes from the other person, our gratification multiplies.
But it comes
And we also know that it is a complete lie.
sorry, I didn't hear.
We also know that it's a complete lie. Inside me, I know I'm not that good.
But what if I am?
But what is
the ego becomes bigger.
Somebody said I looked good. I knew I looked good, so it was nice to hear.
Yes, very good. That confirmed. Very good.
I'm just making a point.
Alright.
Thank you.
What point did you make?
Point I made is that is very bad, and
That
we have to get back to
The whole process of evolution of the soul, that this need, that hankering
causes
of listening to others saying good things about you needs to go away.
transcendence.
Because that is an ego stroking, scratching each other's back. He says, you are looking beautiful, you say, you are looking handsome, or both are okay.
No, but what if?
I wouldn't lie. The other person has to be handsome for me to say.
But what if you think that if somebody says you're looking beautiful, and this person thinks, okay, maybe I always look very bad, and today I'm looking a little bit better. So that's
Yes.
so.
But
Then what is
whether
that?
bad or beautiful,
Even that is ego.
both subject of the ego.
if you look sickly,
Because there is a judgment associated with it.
I mean,
Transcendence
you should be
basically
defensive. You should be
means
above it.
transcendence basically
Above
means
the looks need to be.
I am okay, you are okay.
Dull life. What?
Normally we live with the model I am okay, you are not.
I'm okay, you are okay. Should be the model.
Whatever I am okay the way I am.
She's okay. She's okay.
Well, she has to know that. For me, she is.
no? Yeah, I was gonna say for
More.
you.
So, understand this game.
Acceptance.
It is a inner game that has been ingrained into our DNA for such a long time that we don't see when it kicks in. It is like the silence that can never be declared. Understand in the world of metaphysics, in the world of spirituality, all such needs, desires I need to stay focused on the perfect creator than on the creation. In order to have judgment, the focus shifts away from him and focus comes on you. Right? Only then you can compliment, right? If the focus is on the other. But if the focus is not on the other at all, tell me, where is the urge? Where is the need? That's why the people who go into mysticism appear to be completely anti-social. Look at the life of any saint. They all are blamed for that. Nothing bothers you. You have no judgment about anything. How come? How is that possible? Kabir used to go to the market to sell the cloth, and he will never ask for the money. And he used to say, राम जी ने राम के लिए ये कप बनाया. The God made this cloth for God. If somebody gives him anything, fine. If doesn't give, he won't. He don't ask. Now, would it not look stupid to the everybody else? Say, hey, if you go empty-handed, how are your children going to eat? And his answer was, God made those children. He's responsible for their upbringing. I am not. If he wants them to go hungry tonight, that's what will happen. If he wants them to eat tonight, he will do something. In other words, he'll put the fear in you so that you do give something. But I am not. He had achieved that status. Yeah. He had achieved that state of existence. And he became popular. That for some reason unknown to everybody, whosoever wears his shawl suddenly feels an inner peace. And nobody could resist contributing to him. Whatever you're doing, please keep doing, because it's brought me a very subtle peace.
Wasn't he a realized soul? That's why. At that level, anyone who gets to that level,
they get to that level by being that way first.
Right.
It is not the result of it. Getting to that level is the cause of it. I mean, that logic will make you completely realize, well, when I get there, I will do that. You ladies are more familiar with this, that it's the same dal that is made in a Gurdwara versus at a home. And you suddenly find different taste. Because your own energy is contributing to. You can see in your own home, the day you are upset, you will make some mistake. Food wouldn't be that good.
I thought it was our mood.
The day you are at peace and cooking in a loving, enjoyable way, the food will come out tastier. It's a very common phenomenon.
I think it applies to everything.
It applies to everything. Yeah.
That's why they say जब प्रसाद बनाओ तब पाठ करो उस वेले, so that your mind.
They're trying to get you away from chattering
upsetting
and
things
noise
that you might
level and trying to minimize the disturbance in the mind.
Right.
So that's how this one way to get you away from that.
Even khana banao then.
Yeah,
Also
yeah.
we always instruct others.
But the point whole of this discussion is that the changes are required in the inside. The changes are manifesting inside. If they are not, then you would be losing a very, very powerful opportunity. Sab salahe. सोको मनोविसार ये सब जियां का आधार. So don't ever try to forget, don't ever attempt to forget, stay in his remembrance. शब्द मरे सो मर रहे फिर मरे न दूजी बार. If you get to that stage where that you are actually become one with the word, शब्द मरे सो मर रहे, the one who has emerged into the word and become like the word, then the cycle of life and death is broken. शब्दे ती ही पाइये हर नामों लगे, हर नामे लगे प्यार. बिन शब्दे जग भूला फिरे मर जन्मे वारो वार. Without that process, the world is completely lost and they are the subject of cycle of life and death. सब सलाहे आपको वडो वडेरी होए. Everybody says good about himself. But that is not, because you are saying I'm great doesn't make you great. Vado vaderi hoye. Become great and let your greatness actually manifest rather than you having to say it. Rather than having to say I am beautiful, be like one so that the beauty oozes out of you.
But then others will compliment.
Not necessarily.
Then you are in
Only-
trouble again.
Only the clean heart and the secure people only.
No, but let's pay attention to that. I mean, though
I'm sorry.
We are digressing.
She takes-
Sorry.
if you meet those who are on the path, you won't have that problem. If you meet those who are in the outer world, you ignore. Because the compliment from the one who really knows is only meaningful. The one who doesn't know at all, what are they looking at? They're looking at the flesh. Where is the compliment coming from? From the sexual urges. That's not a very holy thing. What do you think?
So don't look beautiful.
I didn't say that.
Transcend
Ignore
the
Because you are
complete
Transcend
sense of
that
physical
and
aspect of
avoid that because you know the truth. You know how much beautiful inside you are, and that is reflecting outside. How much more you have to go to get to that stage, you know that.
Yeah, I know that.
Yeah, so.
I'm just saying.
That's the devil.
Rekha wanted to say something.
Oh, you said it's sexual, but it could be just anybody. It doesn't have to be a man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it could be not sexual even between men
Yeah,
and
it
women.
could just be sometimes you feel this.
Yeah.
Somebody looks
You can't touch, but you feel something
Yeah.
about someone.
But understand the relationship of the beauty. Rupe kame nale dosati. The sexual urges are awakened by the outer beauty. They are related.
Inner too.
They are joined at the hip.
Inner too.
How do you reflect the inner beauty?
But that's scary. I complimented her.
How do you reflect the inner beauty?
Inner beauty shows out.
Oh, yeah.
So how long will it take?
But why wouldn't you compliment God's creation?
I mean, I'm
It's a
having
God's
trouble there
creation.
too.
It is a game playing. There is no compliment.
I look at beautiful flowers. I
there is
enjoy them.
beauty.
It's beauty. I see beautiful women. I
Right.
say they are looking.
The day you develop the capability to become a flower, when you look at that flower, you would really earn the capacity to compliment.
Nature कितना सुंदर है भगवान का creation. You see, we express. That makes us feel good.
You said it. I didn't.
Makes us feel good.
Makes us feel good.
See, you're not supposed to feel good.
Don't you understand?
No.
Don't you understand that this is a pure ego gratification for yourself? That you can see through this, you can enjoy it, others don't.
we
You
want
have
others to
appreciation.
enjoy. That's why we express. Look at the beautiful nature. Look
Right.
at beautiful garden.
So why should you say that? If the other person is already seeing the same thing, he will be experiencing the same thing too.
Not necessarily.
Yeah,
Everyone
same.
doesn't.
Bingo!
Yeah, I agree.
What did she say?
But that's a
Not
reality.
necessarily. I can see it, he doesn't.
No, I didn't say he doesn't.
Of
He
course
doesn't.
you
We
are.
are
may
all
not-
saying it.
So why?
Everybody, see, if you take 20 people
They'll say
and
different
show the
things.
same thing, not everyone has the capacity to enjoy.
And
They
Same
don't
thing.
have experience, they don't
beautifully
have
said.
art.
Beautifully said.
That's the reality though.
Absolutely. Beautifully said.
So again, you're saying that I have the
Not that-
capacity.
मैं नहीं करी, मैंने ये नहीं
बिल्कुल
I-
यही कह
I
रहे हैं
would not
आप.
have
You are not seeing that game running inside you. That's a problem.
करी। अब मैं तो सच बोल रही हूँ.
You think that. I don't.
Yeah, but people may have different tastes. Somebody might like
I
the
don't.
color
I don't see that as a truth.
But everybody might be seeing beauty in
different ways.
things
Somebody
in
enjoys
different
the
ways.
shape. The
What is
color.
that related to?
God.
What is that related to?
God's creation.
Any thought that is coming from within you is coming from your memory. Is it not? So where's God in it?
Why memory?
We have memory of God. We are, after all, God's children.
We
Okay.
have God in us.
And
Back to square one. इतनी देर
कितने
सुना.
गए थे पानी
1
फेरना.
hour 20 minutes. सुना.
it's amazing.
It's not that we don't understand what you're saying.
It's amazing.
But we are having trouble at the other end. Which
You'll
we are
continue
so used
to, yeah. Everybody will till you see that's what the whole message today is. Till you can see the game your intellect is playing with you.
Right.
The memories, your biases, all this discussion is playing from that.
Correct. Logic.
And till you can drop it, you cannot see the truth.
अपना existence ही खत्म हो गया ना.
वही तो करना है.
Ego तो खत्म करनी.
वही तो करना है. Objective ही वही है. If that is not the objective, don't waste time.
Sannyasi. Only son. I'm not going to say. I'm not going to say. You know what I was saying about this, which I'm not saying.
Only sannyasi can do that.
Exactly.
The real appreciation of anything in the nature is to be that. This harmonium is beautiful. You would only know that a harmonium is beautiful when you become harmonium. Otherwise you can't. Otherwise it's just a judgment coming from your memory. Looking at a flower, a garden, a tree, a bird, an animal. And we have talked about this a number of times. That if you want to feel what water is, then become water. Otherwise you will know the properties of it. It's a liquid, it can be warmed up or heated up, cooled down, etc. etc. You don't know water. When you become water, then you know what the flowing capabilities are.
But how do you become water? How do you become flower?
The day you drop that ego, then you become one with the nature. You become one with the creator, you automatically become one with the creation. All compliments are judgments. Are they not? Judgment belongs to who? Ego.
So, in other words, when we give a compliment, we're really disturbing the other person. Because he might be thinking something.
If he is spiritual, he will
We're saying,
ignore it. He will not be affected. If he is not spiritual,
plenty.
he will, or he or she will react to the compliment in a positive way and say thank you. And if it's not a good one, it's how dare you. Yeah.
So if we say, I see beautiful nature, instead of saying, look at the beautiful nature, would you say, thank you for the beauty?
If you stay focused on that, rather, again, we come back to the same topic. Stay focused on the Creator. and start becoming like creator. Detached. Do you ever hear a noise in the garden, how beautiful a flower I made? If the creator does not have the urge to put labels on what he made, why are we doing this?
That's the only thing we have to remember now.
Why are we in a hurry to label everything? This is good, this is bad, this is good, this is bad.
We are thanking God.
No, you're
Thanks
not.
for creating that.
I'm not going to
You're
send
even
you
saying
those
I planted
beautiful
flowers.
art pictures.
Yeah.
I did it.
I should not send you those beautiful
Well, there
pictures
are
of
those
earth
ones
and
too.
tulips and all that.
There are those ones.
It's your call.
It's so beautiful.
Because it bothers you?
No, it doesn't.
But he doesn't care.
I just told you that they comes and look and it goes away. That's all.
I fully agree. Last several years I have been asking him, come to my location an hour early and have dinner with me. He's absolutely not interested. अच्छे से अच्छे प्रोग्राम्स को बुलाया, अच्छे से खाने को बुलाया. It doesn't interest him. ये तो सन्यासी हो गए बिल्कुल.
वो तो है ही सन्यासी. वो तो सन्यासी.
आपको ये अच्छा लगता है ना?
When we say that when you look at a painting or something or a flower, let's say, you admire the creator behind it, one who has created it. Think of the creator.
Thank you.
Okay. Is it different in admiring that and then or then saying it is beautiful?
Absolutely. Because the word beautiful
Judgment.
or ugly,
Or is it also
it's coming from judgment,
creators? Okay.
right? And I have shared that story with you, particularly about flower, that a mystic took his disciples to the park and told them to sit down and watch and not ask any questions. A couple came by. They were walking hands in hands there. They seemed obviously in love. The boy picked the flower and put it in her hair and then stood back and said, "Look at you now. You are looking much prettier." And then she picked one and put it in her coat pocket and said, "Now you look very handsome." And they walked away, joking, kidding with each other. Then the second person walked in and he looked at the same patch of flower and suddenly started humming and singing. And he went away. And then a third person walks in with a suit, jacket and a tie and everything, is walking through, goes over there, looks at the flower, picks it, smells it, start taking the leaves apart, and then smells it. Then he takes a knife out of his pocket, cuts few branches, cuts few leaves, cuts few flowers, put it in the purse, and go away. And then a saintly looking person walked by, looked at the flower, and bowed and went away. So now the master turns around the disciples. "What have you learned?" He said, "Learn what? People are coming and going in the park. We don't know what is so different. These kind of people every day come and go. That's what it is." So no, it is not. The first couple belonged to the physical dimension, because it wasn't the flower that mattered to them. It was how it was enhancing the beauty of the other. If that did not fit well with the clothes they were wearing or the things they were doing, they would have thrown that out and picked another one. That's a physical type of people. They are fixed, they are frozen, they are stubborn, they are ritualistic, they don't change. They just keep on repeating the rituals that they are bound by. The second people came is in the emotional dimension. He's a poet, he's a singer, and certain emotional energy came by looking at the flower, and he starts writing poetry and singing music. Emotional people are illogical people. They are extremist in their belief system, and spirituality never touches them. The third comes from a scientific mind. To him, what is the fragrance hidden in it? That's what matters. He's going to take it, he's going to boil it, and do experiment till he gets the aromatic compound that he needs. Flower is totally irrelevant to them. These people can become teachers, philosophers, preachers. They can give you all the theories about what does that flower consist of, and they will allude themselves as if they know the flower. And they know nothing about the flower because they don't know the beauty and the softness completely is gone. It is the last one who looks at the flower, sees the creator behind the flower, bows to the creator, and walks away. They are the one who are spiritual type. A spiritual type start practicing dropping the judgment about everything and start seeing the creator behind everything. So, to your question, if we are seeing the creator behind this, we are focused on the creator, not the creation. That's what I said earlier. The judgment about the creation attaches you to the outer world than the inner world. The time that you have wasted in saying how beautiful it is, that time could have been employed in actually admiring the creator for that beauty. And these are the subtle ways the ego comes back from the back door. See how good I am doing? I am pointing out the beauty to the rest of the world. These all undercurrents are already there. And you have to see that game. It's a disturbance in consciousness. But you will see that when you actually sit in meditation quietly and watch. You will be surprised. It will tell you, see how good you are? You've been sitting here for half an hour now. You look at the watch and it'll be only 5 minutes. These are all the games the mind plays. And we don't see it. And that, I mean, we have seen a practical demonstration of how the ego resists at something that is not in my paradigm. Right? How it fights, how it defends, how eager it is to try to prove the other wrong. But godliness has no label. And we are trying to become like God. How we can carry the labels with us? And insist on carrying the labels. Insist on that is the right thing to do. Yes, it's the right thing to do in the socio-cultural, economic environment or political environment. It is not true in the mystical dimension. Mystical dimension is slowly going away from all of it. It is there, you notice it, you ignore it, and you move on. That's it. You don't stand there and judge it. Don't stand there, condemn it. Don't stand there, condone it. You just observe it. Absolutely unattached, neutral observer. Yes, it is there.
So God, stupid question. If the God didn't want us to talk, so why did He give us speech? We should just observe, like we should be like a stone.
I didn't say
God
did not want us to talk. I don't know how you got that at a conclusion.
You should
He
just
gave us
observe and not use the language, right?
No.
That's not what he said.
It has nothing to do with the language or a lack of language.
definition of joy doesn't mean that
The desire to label something is a desire. I am referring to that need inside, that desire inside that says, I need to label this. It's a good label, it's a positive label, and you are pointing out to the others. Look at that.
But
But-
the spiritual person did the same thing. He admired the Creator, so he bows down and goes. So he also,
That's the only admiration allowed
so he
to a
also
mystic.
admired.
The only admiration allowed
silence.
to the mystic.
Silence.
That's it. And that's why he gave the tongue and gave the power of speech, that we can admire him.
Only him.
Do remember. Shabbat.
God is a very, very jealous lover.
He is jealous.
And then we want to be like
You
him.
cannot love anything else if you're going to fall in love with God.
Oh boy.
You cannot love anything else.
So what do we do in man-woman relationship?
They are just biological relationship. Have the relationship and forget it.
Now you know why I didn't bring him here. Now you know why I didn't bring him
I don't
here.
care whether you bring it in or not. That's not a reflection on me, it's on you. It doesn't say a lot about me. It says a lot about how you see the life.
I thought God didn't have man like.
Huh?
You said God is a jealous lover. I thought we didn't put the human.
No, I am putting him in human terms to tell you that nothing, even an iota of attachment anywhere else, will keep him away. What does that mean? That means the ego still is alive. Because it is the ego that feels the good, bad, or indifferent. That observation, that labeling, is attached directly with the I. And as long I is there, he's not. That's why, in human terms, you can say that the most demanding and jealous lover is God.
So he's judgmental.
He wants total surrender.
That's what he wants.
I mean, those are your interpretations.
You got to be.
If you want to call that he's judgmental, so be
he
it.
loves everyone equally.
Huh?
I thought he loves everyone
We
equally.
can dissect God.
Because it doesn't bother who
But
we
not
are.
everybody loves him equally.
The term love or hate does not exist in that dimension,
So then why are you calling him a lover?
in this dimension. I'm expressing him in human terms.
This is the vocabulary limitation.
So what you're saying is that we should be unattached to everything else other than God.
If you want to be mystical,
Correct.
if you want to be spiritual, if that's your need, if that's your desire. We started the conversation by saying it is not mandatory for everybody. It's not required by anybody. It is your conscience's choice. If you make one, then these are the requirements. Your approval is not necessary here. That couldn't be right. It is irrelevant whether you think it is right or not, or you think it's wrong, or you think it's wrong. It's totally irrelevant. The truths about the creation and creator are just the truths. It needs nobody's approval or acceptance. Whether you believe it or not, certain realities are just that. They remain there, unchanged, unshaken. And hence, if you want to go on that path further, deeper and deeper, you will be surprised how these walls start dropping. These are like dominoes. Once they start falling, boy, they fall. It's the initial resistance which is stopping you from internalizing this and accepting it. Because right now I can see that almost every mind is running 1,000 miles an hour trying to process this and come on, what a gibberish.
No. I believe.
But understand that these are not my thoughts. These are not my dogmas. These are not my paradigms. I'm not the creator of those. Gurbani is basically saying, Shabad rate se nirmale taj kaam krodh ahankar. All desires, kaam, krodh, anger, ahankar, ego. Because unless they drop, what is krodh? And we had talked about it.
It's a crude way
Krodh
of
is
love.
a byproduct of the ego getting hurt.
Correct.
Attachment is byproduct of ego getting stroked.
Attachment is?
Yeah.
It is?
Yeah. If you keep on stroking my ego, I would feel attracted to you because you always say nice things about me. So I feel attracted. The ego is getting stroked. But if the ego is getting hammered, then I'll develop anger toward you.
Hatred, same.
See? These are byproducts of something. They are not the real ones. They are shadow. So if you are feeling angry, watch. Somewhere the ego is hurting. And normally we fight that battle. So no. It's had nothing to do with the ego. It's purely what you did or did not do.
Self-denial.
Judgment of every kind belong to the ego. Any label belongs to the ego. And unless you can drop that, the spiritual journey cannot proceed further. You will keep on going in a circle. You won't move. And you have to understand that game. And it is a very vicious game and it is circular in nature. It catches you. Even when you are working, you say, well, I got it this time. I didn't understand 3 years ago, but today I understood it. Feel good?
Even that's ego.
Certainly the label. And you start watching that game. Why is this so undying urge in me to glorify myself in the eyes of myself as well as others? And more, I come back to the same statement, the more the others reinforce that you are a great man, you are a great woman, more I get attracted to such an environment. And more I am condemned and say, more I am pushed back. I am being controlled by the other's opinion of me.
Sure.
For a spiritual seeker, you do not give that much power to the other to disturb your consciousness. You take that power back to yourself. So that's what the last line was saying. Sab salah hai aapko. Everybody talks about himself. And good. Vado vaderi hoye. Be the real great if you really want to call yourself great. Then you would not need to call because the greatness would automatically be there. Gurbin aap na chiniye kahe sune kya hoye. Just talking about these things doesn't mean anything. You have to actually do that. Gurbin aap na chiniye. The inside would not change just by talking about it. You have to do what the Guru had said. Nanak shabd pachaniye, hame kare na koi. If you have understood this secret, then you are on the path, you are on the way to controlling the most vicious malady affecting the humanity, which is the egocentric living, egocentric life. So that's the conclusion of the 8th Ashtapadi, and we'll continue with the journey 2 weeks from today.
I had, since that discussion of that 5G came here with Swarn,
Yeah.
Since that day I was trying to grasp the meaning of Satguru or Guru. And then today here noticed in this Shabda Ashtapadi there is in the second page, where was it?
Well, let me define both the terms for
And
you.
the third.
Guru and the
And the
Sadguru.
third
Guru jina da
third-
andala chele nahi
and-
thao. Bin Sadguru
see,
na
in, in the same
sentence, though both words have come.
both words have come, and it makes it so clear.
Yeah.
So one is the one that takes you to Sat,
Yeah.
to the truth, and the other is just
Yeah.
so we have to be in search of Sat by doing the jap. So
Well,
we can visualize
jap
the
is a
Satguru.
technique which helps to quieten your mind. Okay? So that is the whole purpose of being in any kind of practice, to break the old bonds, old mold, quieten the mind, and so that you can see the inner game from inside. So if you don't stay at jap, jap becomes simrana, and simrana becomes dhyan, and dhyan becomes bhakti, samadhi. So
And
it says that you start that process with. That's the beginning point, the first point.
in the very first line, Surman bhule bavre gur ki charni lal.
Yeah,
So that would be, gur ki charni would be the sabad which takes us to the eternal truth.
correct. Correct. That's why we had talked about earlier that when you catch a word which is loaded with different stories and different models, the moment you utter that word, your mind immediately runs to those stories. Right? I mean, that you can see that in the Gurdwara, when a singer takes a filmy tune and sing on that filmy tune, even though he's singing the Shabad, immediately, "Kadi film that?" Right? Which film it is being repeated? Your mind immediately runs.
See, I keep bringing this up because I used to feel that doing parts, just open the Gutka and that you have Guru De Darshan. Since you read the Bani,
Yeah, right.
you Bani padi te Guru De Darshan hoye. But it's not until you reach the level that you do feel his reflection.
Unless you can, again, the Guru is what is hidden behind the words. Is that energy. Otherwise, it's a black ink and a white paper. So, what does that do? So today,
But again, we get the reflection of that divine energy as soon as we understand a line from Gurbani. But that just for
that is
few
a
moments.
thought that has occurred in the memory. But you do not see the glimpse of the light from within. So the information is not to be confused with the reality. Right? One is just talking about the reality, the other is the reality. We are talking about the creative energy. We do not know the creative energy. Because that has not manifested yet.
So knowing that reality would be the first reflection of Sadguru?
Yeah. So I know I have caused some disturbance in some consciousnesses today.
No, not really.
No, I
But-
think that's a realization.
Yeah, just about you were so right. Like
No, actually that
the reaction,
discussion deep
we
down
have the reactions and
We all,
But
no,
the point of that is,
brings the points home actually.
it does.
yeah, it does.
the point of that is that the truth cannot be compromised because it's not being understood very well. Truth will remain the truth. Because we don't want to change our paradigm, so we justifying that these habits are good habits and we should maintain them. What I'm saying to you is, if you want to maintain them, then you are good for the outer life. Stay good for the outer life. Don't delude yourself that you are actually trying to evolve from inner, because the laws of the inner game are totally different. There are no compromises there. There is no readjustments.
But this thing has to work from inside out, not outside in. If you meditate and do jap, then these things will automatically happen. You
They will
cannot just stop complimenting and start saying that I am very spiritual, so I don't come,
Anything
It cannot
forced
work.
from outside,
It's not going to work.
not going to work.
It's a natural outcome of what we do.
Yeah.
So the main thing is again to do jap, to do meditation. Right?
Bring the mind first to a standstill. That's the first step.
Okay, now if I want to say this was a very, very good satsang tonight. Fantastic. I really got a lot out of it. I have taken all important notes, which I will read again tomorrow, etc. etc. Now, if I want to drop ego, how would I express it?
Okay, good.
Express what?
What I just said.
She complimented.
What I just said, this satsang was very useful, and I am going to.
What does it need to say that?
I'm just expressing. You see what I feel.
My question is, what's the need to express it? It is there, it's there. That's all.
How will you know when we really understand and we are going to use it, and it was very useful for you to know, so that you will know in future.
Have I ever expressed that desire?
But he has transcended. He
So
doesn't
if we
care.
all just came in and we all just walked out without like having all these.
No, but have I ever expressed that desire? That I need to know whether you are implementing. I know you are not.
For any teacher, for any guru,
Well, I'm neither.
It's a feedback.
I mean, how can you not want to know that अब were we dummies sitting here? इस कान से गया, उस कान से निकल गया, या कुछ अंदर भी गया? You know what I mean? You do want to
You don't need to tell me. The day that change takes place, it will become obvious.
So you don't mind, or you don't. It doesn't make any difference if we all just came in and listened and we were.
Absolutely.
You still go on.
Stop tomorrow, I'm okay.
No, not stop. If we just like don't say it like Asha just said it. We
No,
just
like you
think it
said,
internally,
like you
and
said,
we just
the
come
day
in
we
and-
adopt it, then
Huh?
we start practicing it, he'll know it automatically.
Yeah, well, You just see the inner beauty.
It has never stayed hidden with anyone. That's the nature of the beast.
How do you, as you go along, you're very peaceful, and then something happens, and your ego is stroked, or you react to that, and then you realize it, and then you want to drop that because that's done, that's history, but it kind of bothers you. How to drop that thought inside you, like so,
Well,
more of it.
Raji, when you start learning to ride the horse, you fall a few times. So what you do? You dust yourself off, get back on the horse again. Okay, I know I fell down. I know I made this mistake. Fine, I need to keep on working harder and longer. That's it.
So if we're becoming more aware of a spiritual nature than the physical one, then I don't know what this is, but is there a reward in that?
You feel it yourself peaceful.
I didn't get that.
Is there, I mean, if we can become this way, does the Creator reward us for that and give more knowledge?
That desire will have to be dropped.
Oh. Even that.
Right? And that's a desire, isn't it? Then you are,
Yeah, because I want the...
you have put the reward already in front and your actions are following behind it.
Our action is following behind it.
The desire of being rewarded by God.
Well, I just wondered if you could manage...
Eventually that will drop.
Yeah.
Yeah. You will see the futility of it. You will see the uselessness of that type of a thinking. And you'll drop.
So it's kind of the same thing as saying, oh God, you're beautiful, I'll follow you, and please like me.
Yeah.
You also
Because we...
aware now. Because you, like, I have a tendency to, the moment I see the beautiful blue sky, I go outside.
नहीं ਕੀ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਹੋ ਮੈਂ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਮਸਾਂ ਸਾਫ਼ ਕੀਤਾ ਹੈ
Oh God, it's so
I thought you liked only that.
outside.
ਹਾਂ ਨਾ ਮੈਂ ਮਿੱਠੇ ਨਾਲੋਂ ਸਾਲਟੀਨ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਖਾਣਾ ਵਾ
I think one, if it's the awareness, you will feel it.
So I don't know whether
You
it's
will drop
ego.
that expression.
Or he's being
You
funny.
absorb it, right? You become that, absorb it.
Yes.
You'll feel better. Then that is already become part of nature.
What is this?
Now, ego says eating.
Let me
Lumpy.
give you guys a tip. If anybody has neck hurts or shoulder stiff or anything, just put your arms, both arms stretched along the sofa, and sit back straight and hold it for like a minute or two. Go rest.
Really?
Or your mind with me anytime. Try it.
You learned it today?
No, I had known it, but yesterday I was so miserable. I mean,
Other
not miserable, but I've been noticing every time I turn this way and this way, my neck kind of hurts. So I had known this thing, but I had never practiced hold on. So I put both my arms on this side. In 2 minutes, I can turn either way. Just
Yeah, nice to
takes
know
it
that.
away. Yes, yes.
Do you understand the significance of that?
Then it would fall away. That desire would fall away.
The existence of that desire
Is the same as one.
is the same. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you will see the futility of this. This happened to Buddha on his last day.
Oh.
After 12 years,
The desire. fall away.
desire to seek the ultimate truth also dropped.
But then what happened?
He was enlightened.
Now, which desire are we talking about?
To find God.
Why are you fighting? Why
No,
do you
to
want to fight?
find, by
Find,
desire
not
would
fight.
be to have more reward, even if I can manage to be without the words, without the judgment, with total acceptance, and it's, to achieve that, then I wanted more wisdom, or more enlightenment, or a pat on the head. And so it's the same as telling someone a compliment in order.
See, it's a precondition. Well, if I do this, will I get this? Will I get grace from him?
More grace. I want more of it, so that
So that means what you're doing is actually dependent upon his reacting to you,
Correct.
which replaces him reacting to according to himself.
right, because I'm putting that condition.
Exactly. And you'll see the futility of that.
Yeah, from childhood, I was used to talking to God. Whatever good will happen, I would thank that this is wonderful and I'm happy. And if for a while I felt ignored, and I would sometimes even get mad, and I would say, "What is this? I mean, you know what I want, and I'm trying so hard, and still it is not happening, etc." I would have a dialogue always. So now, according to what I heard today, what I understood today,
Okay, Deepak, we got.
Satsugati.
so that will be really difficult.
Because you had said,
Yeah, for
you always
years,
had a dialogue.
for 50 plus years, I had the dialogue.
Because you were asking something from him, but now
No, but I was also thanking for getting. I mean,
It is
really,
because you feel that
really,
you can-
correct.
Do you get that too?
well, today he said,
You, it's not a mistake, but
don't
like
expect. What did he say?
you get restless.
He didn't say.
Yeah, those
Like that even
we are all conditioned by our upbringing, and those things do come to you. And then, if you are honest with yourself, you just see it that it has happened. The old recording is not gone yet; it is playing. You acknowledge it and get on with your work, and not start doing this self-flagellation. How stupid I am, and how when I'm going to get it, why it keeps happening to me. It should not be. None of those judgments. Yeah, I fell off from the horse. I need to get back on.
Wonderful.
That's all.
Yeah, Raj, that will be really great. Very good example. Fall down from the horse, get back.
No, we do make mistakes.
We think
Can you really leave it like that?
we are being nice.
Oh, you heard what she's saying. Can we really live without judgment?
Yeah.
Because there has to be some baseline somewhere for everything.
Who says that? Tell me. What is wrong or difficult in living the way the things presented to you, and you just accept the way they are? When you accept them the way they are, where is the judgment in it?
No, but like the world, I don't know about the war, about Africa, all these things that happen out there, we can't help but.
Yes, you can. You can help yourself. You just have to shift the paradigm. That whatever is happening, it is outside me. Yeah, war is happening. What can you do about war? People are dying. Yeah. What can you do about it?
Yeah, but they are
Did you cause it?
lost the creation.
Are you the cause of this?
No, but it's still
Do you have any contribution in that?
It still makes you sad.
And it's still a
And if it is affecting your consciousness, you need to work on it.
but it's still the creation. So then I usually
But how do you know the creator is not actually causing all of that?
Because it looks like man's doing it to man.
Everything happens under his guidance. If these things are not supposed to happen, then they won't happen. Whether they are floods or whether they are famines or whether there is whatever is the earthquakes and the tornadoes and whatever is happening
That's what we
is part of the design of the overall play.
randomly run.
So, as a spiritual being, you look at them and you see the creator's hand behind it. Move on with your life. You don't need to judge. The one who is actually influenced by the outer world, for him or her it is a natural phenomena. I see something, I don't like it, I'm going to condemn it. But that would be your personal truth, what you are condemning. Because the one who is doing it, to him or her that's not a truth. Otherwise, why would he do that? To him, that's doing is absolutely justified.
because they bring through pain.
Is it not?
Yeah, so all that you've learned is good and bad. Universal.
There is nothing good or bad that's universal. Find one example.
Kill someone?
We kill every day. Do you let the cockroaches run around your kitchen? Flies?
Well, she doesn't
Mosquitoes?
have cockroaches, but she lets the ants live.
I do.
What?
She doesn't have cockroaches, but she lets the ants live.
If the killing is bad, should all the tigers starve to death? They had to kill. In nature,
Human beings. See more.
okay, so if somebody comes to kill you, would you not defend yourself? Kill the other before they kill you? If killing is bad, why every country is building million men armies? What are they training them for?
I know, so that's what I'm saying. But
Being the plan.
murders and abuse, I don't know, domestic abuse, child molestation, whatever, we term them as bad things, right? That's how we do judge them universally as any country, anywhere.
A consensual reality is not the truth. The examples you are using, they're all consensual acceptance of by some, just as we were talking about earlier, 2 plus 2 equal 4, everybody believes it. Does it mean it's the truth? Whole of the universe believes 2 plus 2 equal 4. Is that a truth? Had they called it a 5, would that have been wrong?
Then everybody
Everybody will start calling it a 5.
lies.
It is a consensual reality that is being confused as the truth. We all have come to an agreement called the month of March, start of the spring. Everybody says that. Well, what is that to Eskimo? On the North Pole?
No, I know. Say that.
So there are no universal truths other than one. He is, he was, he shall be. That's the only truth. Everything else is a mutual agreement for the ease of managing these societies, social systems. That's all. Managing the social system change from time to time, from space to space.
So do you want half of my tea?
No, I'm just trying to finish this one. So do not confuse the consensual reality with the inner reality. They may be valid in the outer reality, and that's okay, I'm not denying that. Consensus are okay in the outer world. In the inner world, no consensus is required because that journey is very individual. Its laws are different.
So, for the inner journey, say all of us have kids, right? Say somebody murdered a kid, my son, your son.
You accept it.
Do you accept it? It's
That,
just
if you accept it, then you are.
The point is
it's not a bad thing.
that you will understand the higher design. That here is an entity that was created for this time frame, and this is how this entity has been removed. That's all.
Well, that's what I'm trying to.
Of course.
The world is out there. We can say anything we want, but take our own child or something. Then
Yeah.
how do you
It's
not
hard.
judge?
It's
How
hard.
do you not feel? I don't know.
That's what the practice is all about.
If you can become that, then you are.
That is what we meditate for, to change the old records and put in the new place.
Difficult.
It's not easy. Otherwise, there will be Buddhas scattered around the planet.
That would be bad.
It's not easy. Yet, that is what is required.
That's probably the closest thing I can think. Not living without judgment. If you can do that.
Not to be judgmental.
So it was in the God's plan, as usual. A person will live so long on
Yeah.
the face of
That's the destiny of that entity.
But the entity is attached to you.
That's what I was asking about.
But that's when you start working on transcending the attachments. Animals do, birds do, they much better job in that area than we do.
Oh, yeah. I saw the
Right?
march of penguin. It was so interesting. to
Yeah,
see.
I saw too.
I started
I mean,
to
to
see
say they
like,
see that the bird is coming to pick up their little one, and that doesn't fight or anything, you
Yeah.
know. Accept it. Looks like it's sad, but
I mean, look at the most glaring example that the birds make their nests at the highest possible point in a tree. Why? Because their chicks learn to fly while they are falling down through the air. And the chick that does not flutter the wings drops and they die. But the bird is going to, as soon as the sun comes up, she's good with her foot going to push him down. Push it out of the nest.
they have the natural instinct.
These are all natural instincts that
Yeah.
the
When they are ready, only then they do that.
the birds and the all other animals, etc.
How can it be someone's destiny that they would be, say, murdered or to be removed at that particular time because I thought nothing was predestined?
No, it isn't. That is what I'm saying. That's the journey of that particular entity. Every entity who has come here is going to go back,
Right?
right?
Well, okay, so that's That's just what happened.
That's just what happens. It's just a method of going back is repulsive to us.
Or too soon.
We think.
And we put that as a too soon thing. Is from our mind.
Well,
Whereas from the higher level, there is nothing too soon or too late.
But it is predestined, and you're saying it wasn't a chance he took.
That's how
We
it.
went back to a different one, right?
Oh,
Before, because he said that was the time to go for that interview.
he said, well, if he was predestined to go at that time. So I thought, well,
No. I mean, again, you are taking this literally.
but it's not predestined.
It is-
at that time. It's just predestined to go
Yeah.
at any time.
We all
We're
are.
all predestined to go. So that was his time. Not his predestined time. It just happened to be his time. And in that regard, we all have some kind of date with
Yeah.
destiny. And it may not be already foretold.
Saint Kabir says that the two things are not known and will never be known. The time of death and the means of death, how it's going to come. You cannot predict that. कबीरा क्या जाना कब मरेंगे कैसा मरना होए. Nobody knows that. And we have seen number of examples. I mean, Cosby's kid was 27, changing the tire on a freeway and shot down by a drive-by shooting.
Did they steal his car? They wanted his car.
No, the car was disabled. He was changing the tire, which is what he didn't see before he shot him, that the car cannot be taken. That was his idea. He wanted to take the car. But when he found that the wheel was actually off and he was in the process of changing it, he just shot and ran.
Did they find him?
Did it?
Did they?
I think so.
Mhm.
Would that happen now?
No, a long time
A few
ago.
years
5 years ago.
Yeah, long time ago. The only son, 5 daughters and 1 son. So that was a young life tragic, mourned by the entire country. So was Kennedy Jr. With wife and sister-in-law, 3 of them, going to a party and flying the plane in a bad weather.
Even experienced people cancelled their flight, but he went.
So when these are all afterthoughts that the survivor behind talk about. The bottom line is the time had come and something was going to go horribly wrong and the accident was going to happen and
And the time is there.
it was their time to go
3 of them had to.
and go together. Yeah. We make stories out of it, whether it is a tragedy or untimely or whatever labels we give them. How horrible and how this. The creator upstairs isn't doing anything. That's the plan, that's the game. The game is going on. Because the absolutely unrefutable law, what is not supposed to happen will not happen. If it is happening, then it's supposed to happen.
What is the name you gave? Which law?
That's the will. Thy will be done. That's what the law is.
So are you saying there's no accidents? Are you saying there's no accidents? Nothing is by accident?
To the outer mind, it will appear to be an accident. To a mystic, to a spiritualist, there are no accidents.
Because the acceptance is there to the spiritual mind.
Thy will.
Acceptance. If you get the acceptance of everything,
You are on the path to spiritual.
You are on the path of that. The moment the judgment comes,
Right.
you are thrown back into the physical dimension.
So it's a good test anytime, good test for yourself personally, that anytime you feel judgmental or reactive, you can remember or remind yourself that which dimension you want to stay in.
Yeah.
You want to stay in
The spiritual one, then
dimension or the
exactly,
spiritual direction.
absolutely.
Dimension. Good, very good.
So in the inner you accept everything, and in the outer.
Outer, you are acting out. That's just pure acting.
Well, you got to
Yeah.
continue the
Yeah.
operation, daily operation. They
That is the whole message. Act in the outer dimension and be real in the inner dimension.
Right.
We normally do the deceptive in the inner dimension and try to become the real in the outer one.
Right.
And that paradigm needs to shift. There is nothing out there that is not already in here.
So then the giving the compliment and all that is the outer.
This is outer, yeah.
Outer dimension. And
Yeah.
you're acting.
Well, the problem is that you are not acting. When you are giving the compliments, they are being taken as real and serious by both sides.
That can be done.
Neither one of neither the complimenter nor the complimentee is taking it as a drama. They accept it as a real one. So the acting part disappears. If you are acting, then it's okay.
If you know you're acting.
But you don't.
That's why.
Are you acting?
Because you can see that.
This isn't real.
Isn't it that when a little child comes and all right, you call the child, come here, come here, come here. You pick him up, say hug me. But his friends are waiting.
Right.
The play. His mind is not into being affectionate to you. Right? So what does he do? Okay, drop me. No, wait a minute. Squeeze me little. Your mind is not in it. How did you know that? You immediately could sense that he was acting. And it's not acceptable to you. You want the real thing. So, all of us know when we are acting or not acting. And invariably, our acting is when we are actually trying to pretend to be religious. That's the real acting.
No, not necessarily.
When you made that statement, what do you mean by that? I didn't follow that. I didn't go that depth.
With the God, we are always acting. With the world, we are always real.
Always is a very.
You don't need to be. You
Except
don't need to be acting with
except-
anybody, neither God or the real world.
Not at all. On the contrary.
But real word, maybe you can act, but not with
No,
God.
there's no need to act with anybody.
If you are real to God, you will already be a mystic.
Oh, yeah, acting.
You have a lot of enemies if you're not acting.
All the things that we have talked about, how many of them are with us in reality? God doesn't get angry, God doesn't have the attachment, God doesn't have the ego, God. Do we have all of that?
No, but if you're aware and you're working on it, then you are just working.
Okay, so let's talk about that working on it.
No, I'm saying
Then-
you're in the right path. That doesn't mean. See, the desire is not to be God, but to
be godlike.
To be godlike, and try the awareness. This has brought the awareness. How we can be peaceful, how can be spiritual, and what path we can follow, and that's what we're trying to do. So if you bring that desire itself to become godlike, that desire itself is wrong.
because you want to drop that desire. You don't want.
No,
to
isn't
drop
that a judgment?
You can twist it. Anyway.
No, I'm not twisting anything. I'm not twisting anything. I'm trying to make you see the fallacy of this type of thinking. Look how vicious it is and how difficult it is to go beyond it. Unless you see the truth of this, you would not be able to evolve spiritually. That godlike characteristics in ourselves need conscientious effort. So if we spend 2-3 hours every second Friday and the rest of the 2 weeks we are busy doing whatever other with all of our current paradigms, consisting of all the attachments and the greeds and the anger and the desires, then isn't that we just acted a role out here for a few hours and then went back and became the original one that we were? Because if it was real, then you would never be able to go away from this, whether you are in here or out there. But out there, you can stay for much longer because you are real with that. Here, it is temporary.
And more difficult.
And far more difficult.
I see it like here it's you're breathing fresh air above the water, and sometimes you go there, you go inside the water and you don't even know, like a fish, that sometimes you can get thrown in the current and you just go until it's the second Friday you come in and you're like, whew, I can see the truth again.
Yeah.
So you have to remember that.
But that is.
Get into the current, so I don't know. It's
So the
it's
point.
an illusion. Yeah.
So it is that example that I was sharing with the other day, that when the bucket is sunk in the water, it feels very full, isn't it? But when there is no bottom, the water doesn't stay in. You pull the bucket out, it makes a lot of noise, but it's completely empty. So being in a company like that is bucket immersed in the water. But does it stay that way, contain that water, when it's pulled out of the well? Only you individually can answer that question to yourself. It's not there. It's just an illusion. So the message of the Gurbani is, you know both things. You know how to act. You know how to be real. Today, an average person is real with the outer world and does the acting with the Creator. Okay, I am doing this good thing, I am giving this thing in charity, I am visiting this temple, I am doing this meditation for a few moments, and that should be enough for you. But the rest of my life is there. So it's saying, just shift that. Become real with the Creator and start acting with the world. When that shift takes place in consciousness, then the thought of the creative energy stays with you 24 hours a day. And dealing with his creation is just a drama. It doesn't touch you. You just do the drama, come home, and it's okay. That shift needs to take place. That's why I'm saying that today whether we are a weekend visitor to a satsang, whether we are daily visitor, it only stays for that moment when you are in there. After that, it drops. Anything that drops is an acting, right? As the actress and actor are interacting, when the director says action, and then he says cut, so actress goes into her place and actor goes into his place, right? They don't say, hey, now we've been acting lovers, so let's be lovers. Because loving, that was just acting. So, if you can act out in the world, what that would mean, then you won't have the attachments. Right? You're acting the role of a mother to your son, and that should be enough. But you can't do that. You don't want to do that. Because the enjoyment the ego drives out of that hug, out of that kiss, out of that nurturing looks from you and from him or her, they are so satisfying to the ego that it doesn't want to give it up.
The question is, the way there's a plan of action the God has, it's set up. The raising the family, that whole thing, nurturing, taking care, all those things. You can do that being detached, but certain part you have to play to complete that process. That cannot be wrong. That's not wrong.
No, I mean, if you're playing the role as a detached, then that's what it is.
Detached means...
The thing to understand here, that we have built-in assumptions. Okay, those assumptions, we have taken them to be for real, the truth. And we keep on coming back to those assumptions that, okay, I have children here, so I'm obligated to raise them. Now, if you are raising them as a responsibility without any attachments, without any expectations, then you're doing the job. But that's not what happens. You already have a desired result in mind. I am raising a good son, he's going to be good, and I'm going to be a good mother, and he's going to be a good son, and all those ego satisfying behavior. So that does not let you experience the detached existence, the transcending existence. Unless you experience that, I mean, discussing about it wouldn't do anything.
But you got to play that role of a good, whatever it is. You got to play that role. You cannot stop that.
Nobody is asking to stop that.
Yeah, but
nobody. That's why we're saying, don't run away from the world. This world is the real school for you.
Right.
So what about the unconditional love you have for your kids? So that whole
No, you
feeding
don't.
part, the feeding
Nobody has unconditional love for their children.
It's conditional?
Every parent has conditional love. If they experience unconditional, they will transcend the attachment. It isn't unconditional. We like to, pat our back in thinking that I am an unconditional lover. No, we're not. It is our attachment that drives us. And if the child was to become rebellious at an early stage, I have seen mothers stopping giving the milk to the baby because baby has now teeth come up and the baby is biting. Take it up. I don't want it. Why? Look, he just bit me. He's your son, so what? He'll be hungry. I don't care. He bites. All you need to do is introduce a little bit of adversity in the relationship. You can immediately see the truth of the relationship.
Oh, you mean it's not unconditional?
It is not.
It isn't.
No love is unconditional. We have not experienced that unless we are mystics.
A child becomes a criminal, a child becomes disrespectful, we very quickly say nothing to do with it.
Yeah. Introduce the adversity of any kind. In any relationship, you two friends, if you want to see, we are experiencing the unconditional love for each other, introduce the adversity. You'll immediately know. These are the paradigms that we have built to make us feel good. These are all egocentric games. And the child doesn't experience the unconditional love from you either. He also knows that this smiling face is only until I obey every rule that she puts down. The moment I violate any rule, the smile is going to disappear.
You're out of the will.
Perfect.
What did you say?
You're out of the will.
You're out of the will. I was thinking especially if he bites.
No, but I'm just using that as a simple example. In any relationship, the day we actually experience unconditional energy flowing, the soul will fly. You will soar. Your feet won't be touching the ground. It is such a liberating force. Because unconditional means that judgment has to drop completely. Even though judgment is about that individual, yet knowing all the warts and habits and everything with it, it drops. Only then you can experience unconditional love. And it doesn't happen. They may be pushed to the subconscious and you may ignore something. But it's there. There is a nagging thought behind it. He did this to me, or he said this to me, or he did not do that for me. You do not verbalize it, but it's there. And only you know. If you become completely honest with yourself, you can see it. If you are in denial, then you won't see it.
Since you have it, is it better verbalized or is it better to just kept in?
No. You receive the freedom from the desire to express, because that's another form of ego gratification. See, I love you unconditionally. It's not the matter of saying, it's a matter of doing. Let the unconditional love automatically speak for itself. It's neither good to keep it in or to express it.
Just don't have
Transcend it.
Just don't have it.
Don't have it.